Hello guys, what's up? Today I will tell you something about the tank I started to use in most recent battles. Here we have the M5 Stuart. The M5 Stuart is a light tank that was widely used by the United States and Allied forces during World War II. Developed as an improved version of the earlier M3 Stuart, the M5 incorporated several key enhancements, most notably a more powerful and reliable engine. The M5 was powered by twin Cadillac V8 engines, which provided it with better performance and increased mechanical reliability compared to its predecessor. Weighing around 16 tons, the M5 Stuart was designed for reconnaissance and infantry support roles rather than direct combat with enemy tanks. It was armed with a 37mm main gun and several .30 caliber machine guns, which were effective against infantry and lightly armored vehicles but inadequate against heavier German tanks. Despite its light armor and relatively light armament, the M5 Stuart was valued for its speed and agility, making it effective in roles where mobility and quick maneuvering were crucial. The tank's relatively small size also allowed it to navigate through difficult terrain where larger tanks might struggle. In addition to its use by American forces, the M5 Stuart was also supplied to Allied nations through the Lend-Lease program, serving in the armies of the United Kingdom, Free France, and other Allied nations. While it was eventually outclassed by more powerful tanks as the war progressed, the M5 Stuart remained in service throughout the conflict and even saw action in the Korean War. Overall, the M5 Stuart is remembered as a versatile and reliable light tank that played a significant role in various theaters of World War II. The largest and most significant battle where the M5 Stuart saw extensive use was the Battle of El Ghedar, which took place during the Tunisian campaign of World War II. This battle occurred between March 23 and April 7, 1943, and was a critical engagement in the North African theater. The U.S. 1st Armored Division, equipped with M5 Stuarts and other tanks, faced off against the German 10th Panzer Division, marking one of the first large-scale tank battles involving American forces in the war. The M5 Stuarts were used primarily in reconnaissance and flanking maneuvers during the battle. Although their light armor and 37mm main gun were not well suited for taking on the heavily armored German panzers head-on, the M5's speed and maneuverability allowed them to outflank the enemy and harass German supply lines. The Stuart's ability to quickly move across the battlefield was crucial in gathering intelligence and supporting the main force. At El Ghedar, the M5 Stuart proved its worth in roles that leveraged its strengths, mobility, and versatility. The American forces, led by General George S. Patton, successfully utilized the M5 Stuarts to disrupt German advances and provide vital support to the infantry. Despite facing stiff resistance and the superior firepower of German tanks, the U.S. forces eventually forced the Germans to retreat, securing a significant victory in North Africa. While the M5 Stuart's limitations as a light tank became apparent during the battle, particularly when faced with the heavily armored German tanks, its performance in the Battle of El Ghedar underscored its value in non-direct combat roles. This engagement highlighted the importance of combined arms tactics and marked a turning point in the Allies' campaign in North Africa. The M5 Stuart's last major battle took place during the Korean War, which lasted from 1950 to 1953. Although the M5 was largely considered obsolete by this time, some units still used it during the early stages of the conflict, primarily in reconnaissance roles and for infantry support. However, the M5 Stuart was soon overshadowed by more modern and better armed tanks, such as the M4 Sherman and the M26 Pershing, which were better suited to the challenges of the Korean terrain and the heavier armor of North Korean and Chinese forces. After the Korean War, the M5 Stuart was gradually phased out of frontline service. By the mid-1950s, most M5s had been retired from active duty in the U.S. military. Some were transferred to Allied nations through military aid programs, where they continued to see service for a few more years in smaller conflicts or in reserve forces. The final retirement of the M5 Stuart from U.S. military service occurred in the late 1950s. However, some countries continued to use the M5 into the 1960s and even the early 1970s. For instance, some South American and Southeast Asian nations operated the M5 in their armies for several more years, utilizing the tank for training purposes and internal security roles rather than in conventional warfare. Thus, the M5 Stuart's service life spanned from its introduction in 1942 during World War II, through its involvement in the Korean War, and into the post-war era, making it one of the longest-serving light tanks of its era. Track hit. We didn't penetrate their harbor. They're like fire. We're stuck here. The antenna is damaged. We can only talk locally. The gunner is wounded. He'll have a hard time. We're done for. Everyone, get out.